So Bill C-91, an act respecting Indigenous languages, do you support or do you have any concerns regarding the bill?
I still have concerns. I think there are some things that we could use as far as protecting our rights, our linguistic rights, but also there are things in there that talk about the mention of self-determination, which I think is something that is an internationally recognized rights. Section 35, which people like to quote, which includes our inherent right, which is a pre-existing right, is something that needs to be protected and implemented. So they are mentioned in the legislation. And so there are things that I think are good about the legislation. Things that are kind of a little bit weak is, and I think everybody is thinking of that who works in language revitalization, is the issue of funding and how is that going to look like? Because we there's no such thing as a First Nations language. I speak Kanien'kehá:ka, and there are different language groups right across Canada, and we're all at different places. But at the end of the day, it's really about how can we get that long-term sustainable funding that actually addresses assimilation, genocide, and colonization. How can we get that kind of funding so that we can recruit new speakers, that the children and youth will be speaking it, and to be able to have the maintenance of our languages. And I think, that it has some merits. Whether we can strengthen it, that's another question. But I think it's high time that languages were given this kind of priority and attention.
And so what are your thoughts about the establishment of a Commissioner of Indigenous Languages and 3 directors to help promote and revitalize Indigenous languages and to oversee a budget for the office?
Yeah, I don't think they will be the ones who are maintaining and promoting. They can promote the languages, and it's understanding of the dire consequences of not being able to speak your language. The commissioners I think, are not the main key for me. It's about how at the grassroots are we going to do that. The language commissioner will, of course, answer to Parliament and provide reports and hopefully help communities who are just beginning language revitalization. But the key is, how are we going to have reclamation, which is mentioned, the maintenance of our languages at the grassroots. The funding should be used strictly and solely for the revitalization and maintenance of our languages. And we need to pay our people to speak our languages because of the impact of Indian residential school. In Quebec, we have the French language that is also imposed upon us. And I think with the mention of having it constitutionally recognized, at least, that could be something that will help us in the work we're doing. But that remains to be seen. And I think that what we need to say is who is doing the actual work of language revitalization and maintenance are the people in the communities. And we can't spread ourselves too thin on this because of the urgency of the situation.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share those points with us on this very important bill. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.